Welcome back. Well, apart from music lovers who are well informed about the jazz scene in Mzansi, the name of pianist-composer Don Laka might well be even more familiar to selected international audiences than local ones. In 2020, remember, he decided to pursue a new career as a classical composer, the Symphonic Don. At the beginning of 2022, just after the floods in KZN, he wrote a music piece that would be performed by an orchestra and a choir as a reminder of what really happened. Now, he has his own world-class orchestra, Like the Moon, We Will Rise Again. And the legendary artist joins me now in studio to share more on this huge milestone. Don, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Great stuff. Now, this is history in the making. I mean, you were commissioned by the new Mzansi Philharmonic Orchestra on the bill with two great symphonists, Sibelius and Vorag. Share more on the orchestra.
You know, this is the most exciting moment for me because 50 years ago, actually, I walked in at the Gallo Studios to make my first record. Now it's 50 years later, then I'm changing direction and working with the orchestra. So this is, as I say, you know, it's the most exciting period in my career where, you know, I decided now I want to become a symphonic composer. So and sharing stage, my music sharing stage with such great composers. I mean, it puts one in a different category you know, altogether because it's very rare to find, more especially even here at home, composers who are really working in the orchestral format. You know,
so is this now a total departure from, you know, the traditional sounds that we've grown accustomed to, the traditional sounds of Don Laka that we've known all these years, for the past 50 years? Are you venturing into classical music full-time now, full force?
I'm venturing into it full force, but you know, I've been a person you cannot pin down as a, you know, as a jazz musician, as a pop musician, a rock musician, you know. And I think I pursue the same career as a musician rather than being boxed in one one category.
Yeah, because you are a musician in any case. So the orchestra piece is titled Like the Moon. Share more on the significance of this name. What really inspired it? What does it mean?
I was actually, you know, as everyone was devastated by the KZN floods. What is it? The new orchestra, Mzansi Philharmonic, you know, commissioned the work, and I sat down and started working on this thing, and it was such an emotional thing, just working on the piece, you know. But I had to, you know, bring in voices. And which is unusual, actually, most of the time in an orchestral formation, in the sense that people write for orchestra only and, you know, dabble in other different things. But I decided to bring in a choir, you know, to relate the story of the KZN fight. But it's more about hope, the song, you know, like the moon, we shall rise. And actually explain it very well that the moon has about 27-day cycle. And then you have the darker days where, you know, for me, replicates when person has gone down emotionally and the problems start. But when the moon starts again to rise, that's when you see all dissipates.
Right. But is this a full-scale orchestra playing a symphony or smaller orchestra playing a chamber piece, perhaps?
This is I write for full orchestral work, which is actually in itself a problem in the sense that it's not very easy to get orchestra to perform your work. Yeah, because this was a full orchestra, about a 60-piece orchestra plus 30 voices. So it was written for that, actually. So I'm very lucky that this is the first time, actually, an orchestral work has been premiered and performed in 1 month and twice in a year.
Wow. Yes. So who are some of the big names that you know, we probably might be familiar with? Is it local names or is it international, or you fused both?
I fused both. And interesting thing is that the choir comprises of TUT students. I mean, they were just amazing. They just, you know, blew everyone's mind when they sang this piece, because in my, you know, when I was writing this, I was going for real pro opera singers and stuff, and this kids just, just aced the whole thing.
But Don, tell me, what really led to this new direction? I mean, taking the direction of classical music. I know that you are a musician. You just tap into different genres of music. But Is this going to be a different Don Laka, or are you going to be the same Don Laka that we've grown and loved all these years?
You know, I always had in the 70s that, I wanted to be a classical conductor. But, during apartheid days, it was not possible.
Really?
Yes, I've always wanted to be. And the reason why I actually moved into piano was as a result of wanting to be a classical conductor. And I was told that you have to play piano, but I don't think it was necessary at the time. The information wasn't that good because there wasn't many people in my area where I grew up that were involved in classical music, So through trial and error, and I managed to do that. When I did my grade 8 in music theory, then I decided, I really want to pursue that. But there was no way one could actually have had access to orchestras at the time because of during the apartheid days. Orchestras were reserved for white people, Sure. So, but now things have changed, and I decided, let me pursue this, and I can add a different dimension and element into orchestral work, bringing in the African element also into it.
Right.
Yes.
I know that, as you've said, you've always had it in, you've always had this idea and the vision, but this is a totally different ball game altogether. So how much time and effort went into studying this genre?
It is continuing, and more especially that I'm largely self-taught. I've never been in a class to study composition and stuff and orchestration. I'm self-taught orchestrator and composer. So as I speak to you now, I've written several works, which one of it is already ready for performance. It's called In the Land of Madiba. It's a full orchestral piece, 6 movements and I'm working on what I call the Stephen Bantu Biko cantata, which will have a huge orchestra and maybe 100 voices or so. So, I continue working. It takes time, but, I'm very patient in working in this genre.
Right. So when did you decide that it's time that people hear your new music?
Well, with classical music, it's not that easy. As I say, working with an orchestra, if it was a chamber orchestra, you can get few musicians in. But, working with a huge orchestra, I think the impact of like The Moon We Shall Rise now has opened doors for me, and which is a great thing, so that there's voices out there that say, we need to hear more of his works. So I think that has opened the door, and sooner we'll hear these works.
Okay. Now, just take us through, the music that you put together for the KZN Floods.
Some of the parts of the In the Land of Madiba will form part of the KZN performances and stuff. So yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just take us through the details. So when will that be?
They're looking at the program hasn't come out yet.
Oh, it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, yeah, we have that. But another interesting thing is that I will be, as I celebrate 50 years, I'll be launching the 50th year program at the State Theatre. So we'll have 2 nights there. We'll have a gala dinner, and we'll have 50 of the artists that I've worked with. Coming on that. That will happen in October, end of October.
End of October this year?
Yes.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, we still hear, we'll wait to hear more details on that.
Yes.
Great chatting to you, Brother.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Yes. All right, we just spoke to legendary artist Don Laka on his world-class orchestra, Like the Moon. Make sure that you stay tuned to Morning Live for more of music from the legend himself.